Hi, this is Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Model Building and Retirement channel. In this episode, we are going to do the completion and the reveal of the 1966 AMT Chevy Nova Pro Street, matched up with the 1972 Chevy Racer's Wedge hauler. So right after the intro, we'll get right into it. Sponsored by Model Makers Workshop. Need parts for your next model project? Model Makers Workshop has you covered with the best aftermarket accessories around. And by Gaahleri, your one-stop shopping for all your airbrush needs. Okay, so we're back. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode because we're going to actually do the reveal first. And what we'll do is we'll just talk about highlights of the build as we go along, and I'll just put a little B-roll in there. But once again, this is a mashup of the 1972 Chevy Racer's Wedge truck and the 66 Nova Pro Street from AMT. So MPC on the hauler, AMT on the Nova. And if you haven't already done so, watch episode 1 or part 1 where I did the complete body and paint, although I'll kind of summarize it in this video. So anyways, it was a fun build. It was kind of cool to do a little mashup on this. And the reason I did that is I wanted to test out my paints, the new Kaleido Clears. So here we have the candy red and candy blue going on both trucks and a little design in the middle. So just a real quick summary on the paint job here is first I painted the model completely tungsten. Okay, and as I said at the beginning of the video, part 1 covers the paint job in great detail, but we'll summarize it quickly in this one. Started out with the base color, which was Kaleido Metal Colors, tungsten, and I started out with a 0.3 millimeter needle and nozzle combination, about 25 psi pressure, and I dusted on the first coat just to get all my door jambs and nooks and crannies colored, and then I followed up with 2 medium coats, and followed up with a third medium coat from further away just to kind of dust in the metallics and make sure everything was evenly distributed. Okay, so next up I turned to ChatGPT and kind of gave it a description of the paint job I wanted, and it gave me this rendering. So I masked off the body using fine line tape and then filled it with frog tape in between everything. Got my design laid out. And then I masked the bottom of the car so that I would be able to paint the red first, which was going to be the top half of the car. Okay, so once the masking was completed, I returned to the spray booth and using a 0.3 millimeter needle and nozzle and about 20 psi pressure, I'm spraying the clear red, actually straight right out of the bottle with no thinning whatsoever. And I'm going to apply 2 medium wet coats on it. So this is the first coat going on now, and I hit the hood and the top half of the car. So I make sure I start my coverage below the mask line and work my way around. And I'm overlapping about 50% on each pass, and I'm watching the reflection in the lights to see how that paint is laying down. And just nice, steady, easy passes. So I let that red cure overnight, and then I remasked the car to cover up the red so that I didn't get any of the blue overspray on it. And once again, same thing, 0.3 millimeter needle and nozzle, 20 psi pressure, and that is 2 medium wet coats now of the clear blue. Okay, then I gave the car and truck an overnight to cure once again, and then I remasked and added a little bit of shading on the backside of the spears and on the bottom edges, and just to give it a little bit of depth. Very light shading. I'm using the clear black from Kaleido. And when adding that shading, it's very light, maybe only about a quarter throttle on the airbrush. And I'm actually aiming at the tape and letting the overspray just carry on to the color. So it's just a very, very light and subtle dusting. Okay, then I gave everything an overnight cure once again, and then removed all my masking and gave the truck and car 3 medium wet coats of Kaleido's clear varnish. And I waited about 10 to 15 minutes flash time in between each coat. And as with the candy colors, the clear coat was sprayed with a 0.3 millimeter needle and nozzle combination and about 20 psi pressure. And I did use a little bit of the retarder thinner. I would say that in a full bowl of on the airbrush, I probably added about 10 drops, and that just lets that paint really flow really nice, and it just retards that curing just a little bit, the dry time a little bit, and just kind of reduces the orange peel quite a bit. Okay, so letting the clear varnish cure up for about 48 hours, and then I went ahead and sanded and buffed the car. So I started out with 5 thousandths grit, worked my way to 8 thousandths, and ultimately to 12 thousandths wet sanding. And then I went to Meguiar's Plastex for my initial buffing. That has a nice abrasive little compound to it. Buffed it all out, and then finished up one more time with Meguiar's Ultimate Polish and Gloss Enhancer. So I experimented too, since I was working with the clear colors, I thought that the clear colors would look good over the chrome tree. So the wheels on both the Nova and the truck, what I did is right off the chrome tree, painted those with 2 coats of the Kaleido Clear Red, and it kind of gave it that red anodized aluminum look. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and it kind of just sets it off, and it's still, you know, the theme of both cars having the same kind of colored wheels, even though they're different styles, I think worked out pretty good. And then as long as I was at it too, when I get to the engine components, I did the same thing. I shot some clear blue over some of the chrome tree, and take a look at some of the engine shots here. But that was a lot of fun doing this paint job. Then I went on to bare metal foil. So I bare metal foiled both cars. I got the Nova completely done and the truck. I want to talk about detailing the grills a little bit here. So on the car hauler, so this is one of those kits where they don't have any glass for the headlights. So this is chromed in headlights. So what I did is I used the Kaleido Clear White, and I brushed in the white to the headlight lenses. Kind of gave it a milky look here. and then I put a little UV resin on there and put that under the light for a little while, and it kind of glossed it up a little bit. But I think it did a pretty good job of dressing up those chrome headlights. Then I used Tamiya amber, clear amber for the marking lights. And as far as the grill goes, what I used is India ink, black India ink, diluted. I made my own wash. I like the Tamiya panel liner, but it's a little bit on the watered down side. And for the grill, I wanted it to be a little darker. So I mixed up my own little batch and brushed that in, and it still took 2 coats. And what I did is I got that all into the grill and let that all dry up, and then I used a cotton swab and just lightly rub back and forth to expose the top of the grill, give it a nice little gloss appearance. And then of course on the Nova, it has the clear separately applied headlights, but I did use the same technique for the actual grill and the marker lights as I did with the 72 Racer Wedge car. So pretty cool.
Okay, so I thought we'd just take a little slideshow here and look at some different details of the 2 kits together. All in all, they were okay kits to build. The AMT Nova was probably the worst. The kit had a lot of flashing in it. It probably took a whole day just cleaning up the flash, just before I could do any painting or anything. You can see it here on the tree a little bit here. But you know what? You can make the kit look pretty good if you take your time and effort into it. And there's probably a reason why it's a cheaper price point too, because its retail price at like Hobby Lobby is $22 compared to like $39 on most of the other kits. So, but it all worked out pretty well. But it was really fun pairing them up to make them look similar and turn them into a team of cars. And pretty much everything was box stock other than I did wire the distributors. That's really the only thing outside of box stock. And then on the interior of the Nova, I did something a little different here. I went rear seat delete, and I bare metal foiled all the door panels and parts of the dash and where the back seat would go. Kind of give it that race car stainless steel look, if you will. And I thought it came out pretty cool. It was sort of a spontaneous decision, so if I could do it again, I would have planned ahead a little bit and did roll bars and seat belts and harnesses and stuff, but I didn't have any of those supplies handy. And I really did like the look of that anodized appearance using the clear colors on the chrome tree. You do have to be careful though, because it doesn't adhere extremely strong, so if you're handling the part, you could scratch off the coating, so you just got to be careful if you're going to do that. But I kind of liked the way it looked, and it brought the theme together. Even though they're totally different kind of wheels, they were just all the same kind of color.
Okay, so that completes the build of the 1966 AMT Chevy Nova Pro Street and the 72 Chevy Racers Wedge. It was a lot of fun building, and as I said, the AMT kit had a lot of flashing. It just took a lot of work to clean that all up, but in the end, you can make any kit look good if you just take the time. So let me know if you like the format of this. It's a little bit different, so I went right for the reveal and then just talked about highlights as we went along. So let me know if you like that. Also, if you haven't, please like, subscribe, absolutely free, and be sure to tune in every Friday night at 7 o'clock for my weekly live podcast, where every week I either have a content creator or somebody who's a prominent builder in the model community. So check me out Friday nights at 7 p.m. And also in my playlist, I have all my live podcasts so you can catch up on them. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.